Okay, welcome back to another Creating Art over 70 Pastel project with Science Rufus. This particular project we're going to be working on is a um, painting that's going to be implemented on a t-shirt. This was a requested project for a t-shirt some years ago because I have made T-shirts in the past and printed them out, had them out there and sold a few of them, but that wasn't my total focus. So during the time when I was doing the digital art stuff, I was doing an awful lot of stuff with Illustrator, and while I was in Illustrator, I created a lot of T-shirts, mostly tennis, some Zodiac, some celebrity type T-shirts, comedians, musicians, those type of things. But I wanted to try to transition away from just totally creating t-shirts in Illustrated. I wanted to do some hand painted t-shirts. And so what I'm going to do here is a hand painted t-shirt. And I promised to do this t-shirt some time ago, maybe a few years ago, to for a person who's very, very special, and they requested this T-shirt, and I wanted to make sure I got it done for them. It's going to be called a Survivor T-shirt. It is for a person who has survived cancer. And this is a incredibly beautiful person, great heart, strong-willed, has reached the pivotal of a career, has done all the good things, and survived cancer. What a winner this person is. So, what we're going to do here is, let me show you. Let me move my head out of the way, and then let me show you the reference material here. So, what we're going to do here is create this particular design. Let me see if I can work through it here for you while I'm here. See if you can see this mouse. I'm not sure. I don't want to scroll it up or anything. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're working on. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here, we're going to be working on this piece right here. This is what it's going to look like. This is the color schema from the garment mask that we're going to be using. We're going to be using a lot of pinks, version on, a little hint of purpley, velvety purple in here. Let me scroll it up a little bit so you can see it. A little hint of velvety purple in here. Some blues and greens over here. And that's going to be it. Pinks, blues, and pinks, some purple, blues, and greens. Maybe a hint of yellow or something like that. Maybe close to yellow, but not maybe yellow in this area to bring in these values of green in this area here. So that's what we're going to be working on with respect to the color. This is the ratio, the golden ratio I'm going to be working on, and this is the layout. The ribbon part is going to be laid out here. Then the actual cancer cell is going to be laid out in this area, which with the little bubbly things popping out, and the word survivor is going to be laid out here. This is not going to be the actual background that's going to be produced in the final piece. It's just part of this particular reference I found of a cancer cell that I wanted to try to do something similar to it. Not actually it, but similar to it. I would need to know what a cancer cell actually looked like in order to paint it. So this is it. This is what we're going to use for that. This is the actual reference that I put together. I built this in Photoshop to put in a little thing here. Thanks to Getty Images, I found the ribbon. I probably could have found one that didn't have that all on it, but this is just reference material. It's not going to be reproduced or try to sell or anything like that. So I used it anyway just for reference sake. So anyway, this is the project that we're getting ready to do here. And let me pause for a second here. Yeah, so we're going to be working on this going forward. So we have the color schema, we have the ratio where we're going to put it together for the composition, and then all we have to do now is just start to lay it out. Let me turn my head back on here and turn it off. And I have the black and white reference over to the left here. When I lower the table, you'll be able to see more of the reference and the paper that I'm painting on. But I had it up high because I wanted to get a concept of do I really need to get in close to it? I don't think I need to get in close to it, for as like for heavy detail like a portrait. A portrait I really need to get in close because the detailed items in the portraits are easily identified and they need to look like what they are. For example, an eye needs to look like an eye. However, in this particular piece here, it's not necessarily that I get an accurate representation of the cancer cells itself. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working with on this. So let me see here. I got all the colors laid out. I'm going to be doing this in pan pastels and pencils. I'm probably not going to bring out any of the soft pastels because it's not a real vast area that I would need to cover with any type of color or pigment. So we're going to keep it simple, and we're going to try to work through this as smoothly as possible. And I'm really hoping that the final project, when it's finally done, will be very, very nice and illuminated and vibrant and just show energy, type of thing. And we're gonna be capturing a lot of the. I'm not sure. Let me see if you can see a little bit of this. We're gonna be capturing a lot of the lighting, reflective lighting in here. We're gonna bounce lighting and have it reflecting, and we're gonna do a lot of lighting in this piece also, just to have some fun with it. The final background and the background portion of it is this. That's probably most likely going to be whatever the t-shirt color that they use. So I'm not going to paint in the background areas that you see here. I'm just going to leave that for the t-shirt color. The assumption here, without a doubt, based on the color selection of the paper, is that excuse the noise in the background, they're doing some construction and some painting outside. Based on this color of the paper selection, that means that the t-shirt selection process will probably be on the darker color scale, the darker range of colors. Maybe just a couple, maybe even just this color, I'm not sure. So anyway, that's what we're getting ready to do. Excited about it. Here we go. Creating art over 70 with Signed Rufus. Bless you. Let's get busy and start painting with a passion. See you in a little bit. Okay, it took me a minute or so to get going with this. I realized I really needed to lay out on the side. I didn't want to do it while in the painting process, but I needed to lay out and identify where the actual text was going to go. So I took it out, I took everything down and took the ruler and did some measurements from the top to the bottom, so I can keep it in perspective with what we're trying to do inside the golden ratio. And so now I'm just going to start laying in some of the big. I really like the colors that are in this mat also. I pivoted off the main color for the particular cancer, which is pink. I didn't know anything about that until I started this piece. I didn't know that there were different color ribbons associated with different types of cancers. I'm always at awe sometimes when you do research and you find out so much information about things that you had no idea about, none. Although there has been, I've had, I guess most families have. I don't know. I can't make a statement. I'm not sure what I want to say with respect to that, the cancer thing. But I've had a few relatives that had cancer. But I just guess like assumed, which is crazy thing to do, is that cancer was cancer, right? And that is so not the case. And then just from, I don't know all the statistics and all the numbers. My research was very minimal with respect to what I was looking for. And so I don't go into all the numbers with respect to how many people this, how many people that. But I know it's quite a few. But to be a survivor, that's, oh man. From the little research I did and what I know is, to survive it is truly a blessing. And I think it's the strong, the people who survive are very, very strong, because it has to take an incredible amount of strength to make some of the choices and a lot of the adjustments that they have to do, you know. And this is just me on the outside looking in. I firsthand no, but utmost respect. And so I consider this a real privilege, to be able to paint a piece. Totally respectful to all the people that are fighting this fight and winning, and respect to the people who have fought the fight and lost. We just painting away. What's going on sometimes? We painting away. It's probably popped in. You say, "Oh, wow, where did all that come from?" It won't be the same spot as I'm stating it, but I'm sure. So what's so nice about painting with the values is the color don't matter if you do the values. The only thing you have to determine is which of the colors you're going to use for predominant areas, I guess you would say. Sometimes you get a piece and it's a really complicated and detailed piece, like for example, like the one we're currently working on. It's kind of detailed, like complicated, complex. Not complex is the word I'm looking for, not necessarily complicated, but complex. The majority of the shapes in this piece seem to be random. So if they're random, then we're not, we have we we're free to do what we would like, long as the shapes are I guess pretty close to representation of what the actual shapes are. So I just go along and just dropping in shapes to place hold. I would say, I guess that's what you could say, place hold, and then I start to sculpt out the other. Yeah, cancers. Ooh man, I've known a few in my life. Not a whole lot, but yeah, I've always been on the outside looking in. I still try to paint loose as I can. It so helps, because I really truly believe that the painting, the piece will guide you. It will guide you. Yeah, when I was doing the research on this, I found that for different types of cancer, and there's so many, I couldn't even begin to start to recite the list. There's a color for each one. I was didn't know that. So I guess not only am I in this journey, I'm learning how I want to handle my craft, how I want to proceed and utilize my craft, and what I want to work with within my craft. But I'm learning a lot of other humanistic things. like the Raven painting. I learned a lot, about the choir and from different perspectives and things like that. With this piece, and I'm almost the same to say it was requested some years ago when I was perspective. Okay. When I was focusing heavily on the t-shirts, I might say this earlier, but I was really focusing heavily on just creating illustrations and t-shirts. Okay. And then through the earlier parts of this piece, you see I was just trying to have some fun with the sponge brushes that come along with the pan pastels. Although it seems like the thing about them to me is I need to slow my roll, going a little fast. I need to slow down. Through this journey, I'm seeing that I'm starting to be able to define the tools I really would like to work with. So sometimes you see me, it looks like I'm just sketching, and that is what I'm doing, just sketching, trying to grasp some of the larger shape. And so once I get kind of a general area defined with the piece, then I can work the opposite. And what I was mean by work the opposite, that means I can start to utilize or to start to bring in and capture the negative space. And once I start utilizing and painting with the negative space, then what you'll see is the piece begins to really take shape, come to life. I think I'm gonna work a little harder to practice with I was talking about once you develop an understanding of your style, and then I don't know why I still feel there's a real need to experiment further. It's like, I guess, gilding, the term like I heard once called gilding the lily. It blew me away when I first heard that term. I'm like, what? Yeah, gilding the lily. But I still think there's a place for the foam rubber brushes in my workflow. For some reason, I just still opt to just grab a regular brush. Even at this stage, I'll grab a regular brush. Even in the stage where I'm just blocking out, I'll grab a regular brush and just start working it from there. I just seem to be so much more comfortable with that. And so what I was getting ready to say is, sometimes I feel like maybe I've reached that point in my journey where I've discovered or realized what I like to work with the most, as far as the tools, and that maybe I'm thinking that maybe I should just continue on with that, because I know that I lose. I tell you, pausing and resuming, sometimes I lose the thought, what I'm trying to talk about. Well, I was talking about development of tools in your craft. I have, my background was IT, and so in IT I developed I guess you should say a like semi-systematic approach to workflow, whatever it is, whatever workflow I'm dealing with. And so I have a need to I don't want to use the word simplify. I want to use the word organize. I guess they can be used in conjunction with one another, I'm sure. To organize is to simplify, I would think. But so this journey with the pastels has been interesting, rewarding, educational, all the above. And so out of the journey, I've been attempting to define my workflow, what works well. Okay, I think I'm going to stop it here, this session here. I'm really, this tooth thing is really bugging me. I think I really need to lay down. I think if they weren't working here today, I probably would have been laying down trying to get a little bit more rest. So anyway, I think I'm gonna shut this session down. Tomorrow I might. Tomorrow I might paint a little bit. I'm not sure. Really depending on how I feel. And then Wednesday I have the dental appointment, so I won't be doing that. So anyway, here we go. This is the survivor painting. That's what the title is. It's the survivor pastel painting. Creating art over 70 with Rufus. See you in the next session. Painting with a passion. Blessings.